Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Weather is spectacular right now, but there's a bad side that goes with that. When the weather starts to cool off, that means that the fall invaders are looking at your home and saying, hey, let's winter in that guy's house. That's stink bugs, box elder bugs, ladybugs. They get in your home now, they lay eggs, and then come spring, you have 5 million little stink bugs and ladybugs running around. You can get rid of them with the fall invader treatment from Southeast Termite and Pest Control. I've told you before, I do this every year, and every year it works for me. And I used to not do it. Before I got with these guys, I used to have issues with ladybugs all over the place. Not since I started the fall invader spray. Southeast Termite and Pest Control, follow my lead. I promise you, it works. Okay, taking a look at the whole season ahead, what player is the most important for this Tennessee football team? And if you want to go with Guarantano, that's fine. We may have three guys that all say Guarantano. He's the quarterback. But I would throw out there are other guys who may be more talented. There are other guys who may be more of a, oh boy, if something happens to him, there's nobody else at this position. So, most important vol for 2020. Chuck, I'll start with you. Is it Guarantano or are you going somewhere else?
Well, I think it is Guarantano.
That's why I'm getting you out of the way.
Right. But, I think it's Trey Smith.
Well, now wait a second. You said it's Guarantano.
Well, I think
Stick
it's
to your guns, man.
but I think that's like
Leave some players for us,
low-hanging
Chuck.
fruit. I mean, I'll say Guarantano. I mean, and it's how he plays. It's the consistency he plays with. That you can't have all these highs and lows and ups and downs and better off the bench than as a starter. But, I mean, to me, yes, it is. That's the clear choice.
Okay, clear choice. So anything we say is wrong. All right, so does anybody have, Jimmy, I'll just go with you. Where are you going?
I would go toward Guarantano, but the guy that I think is right there with him is Henry To'oTo'o.
Yeah.
Not only do I think he's a great player, I don't think they have much depth there.
Yep.
They're trying to find another inside linebacker, and they're not sure if that's going to be Banks or Crouch. And I think he's the leader of the defense. He's a signal call on the defense. If you miss him, who replaces him? Look, it's not easy to replace Guarantano, but last year they did it with Trout and Maurer and whoever else they could put out there. So I think it's a very close call, but just, I guess, to give another view of it, I'd go with Henry To'oTo'o.
Yeah, Henry's actually my answer because I don't think he can be replaced. If he's not available, I think they have major problems at inside linebacker. That's not to be a knock on anybody else. One, it's just a statement to his talent. I think Trey Smith is Tennessee's best player. But the player that I think is the challenger for that title would be Henry. Like Cade Mays, I don't think we're going to get to the end of the season and say he's actually the better offensive lineman. Look throughout the roster, I think Henry To'oTo'o would be the challenger to be Tennessee's best player. If you don't have him after having to replace Daniel Batuli as well, you have major problems in the middle of that defense. So I would go with Henry To'oTo'o as the most important player.
That's where I was going to go.
Yeah.
And for all the reasons that have already been stated. One, he's one of your most talented players on the team. But at that position, you just don't have a lot of proven depth there at this moment. So if something happens with him, I don't know what you do. Whereas, as you mentioned last year, you may not have won a lot of games replacing Guarantano with other guys, but you did put somebody in there. You lose your star middle linebacker, and you're thin at that position. And I think most of us, with the turnover that's coming on offense, I think you're looking at this hoping that this defense can be kind of a leader this year, can be the backbone of this team. If he's gone and your defense isn't as good, okay, now I'm really worried about all these new receivers out there on the offense. Yeah. So to me, it's To'oTo'o. Now
Take that, Chuck.
Yeah, so take that.
He was my choice on defense.
Yeah. But I do look. I mean, quarterback is always going to be default for most people, and certainly Guarantano has been up and down over the years. But
yeah, I wrote down Trey Smith and To'oTo'o is who I'd had down because I thought Guarantano was the obvious pick.
And Velus Jones and Jeremy Banks.
I think
Bryce
Josh
Thompson.
Palmer's an interesting one too because you need somebody to be established as your number one guy, and you have this committee. But does the committee really have a chance to stand out if Palmer's not a really good player? Now he's the focal point probably of opposing defenses. So he's not number one on the list, but Palmer's worth a mention. I think he's really important for that offense.
All right, very good. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about basketball. The NCAA has made it a little bit shorter season. We'll discuss that. Does it have an impact on the Volunteers? Come on back. Much more to come on the Sports Source.